drugs that make the world go round. So Apothecary Diaries, the first season, I guess, of this recently came out. Now, I was deceived with this. For some reason, the title Apothecary Diaries was a title that I swear has been around for a lot longer than a season. I mean, granted, the manga originally started the manga was 2017. There was a light novel, a novel. This series goes all the way back to 2011. But the anime started in the fall season of last year and recently concluded. The first season, at least. And well, I didn't know if I was going to talk about this. I recently did my binge cap for the season. I thought I would talk about it there, but I decided, you know what? I feel like there's enough there to warrant a one-off review for it, because I'll get this out of the way. The Apothecary Diaries was weirdly really good. I did not expect it to be as good as it was. And by good, I should say, I didn't fast forward at any point, because I've kind of gotten to that point with anime now, where it's like if I'm at all bored or if I can get where the plot's gonna go, pretty much I'm going to, because time is a resource. But with this, I took my time with it. But pretty much what the Apothecary Diaries is, it's a fictional country that it's set in, but it's based off of like Imperial era China. And it follows this girl named Mao Mao who's working in the red light district, the pleasure district of this city. She's working as an apothecary, which if you don't know what an apothecary is, they're pretty much the olden day pharmacists. They make and distribute medicines, though in her case, she has a almost fetishized fixation with medicines and poisons. And one day when she's working, she gets kidnapped and sold to the Imperial Palace to work as a servant. And in this era, the emperor of the country, they're not really wives, they're more concubines, but they just hold a very high status because they are that close to the emperor. And eventually word spreads that one of the emperor's concubines, their child, has fallen ill. She takes interest in that, but since she's just a lowly servant, it's not like she can speak up about it. So she leaves a couple notes and whatnot saying just like, hey, if they have this symptom, then it's probably because of this, you're giving them this and whatnot. And then she eventually catches the attention of Jinshi, who is a very beautiful man and pretty much runs the administration, and he's a eunuch. It's pretty much a story about Mao Mao climbing the ranks, but sort of still just staying as a servant girl. She has a pretty high climb to grace in this story, starting as just a lowly servant girl to then being like the right-hand maiden of some of the emperor's concubines, even being in the same room as the emperor in some occasions. And honestly, the biggest praise I can give to this show is the main character of Mao Mao, because if she wasn't written and animated as well as she was, this show definitely would be very boring. But she is just so funny, just when it comes to her expressions and everything, especially when it comes to drugs, and also the other side of the plot being her romance sort of with Jinshi, because with Jinshi he takes a big fascination in Mao Mao because since he's such a beautiful man, he catches the attention of pretty much every woman he passes by. But when it comes to her, she shows little interest and honestly disgust towards him, and that just turns him on even more. And it's pretty much just 24 episodes of a pretty good drama comedy, which is not really a genre I think about too much. There's drama, there's comedy with a sprinkle of romance, but I'm sure the romance side of it is probably gonna come more maybe in the second season, probably the second half of the story, because who knows, maybe this story is gonna end with Mao Mao becoming one of the emperor's concubines and she gets shaved by Jinshi or something. I will say it does give an interesting perspective on the whole like red light district type of thing, which if you don't know what the red light district is, it's something that still exists in certain countries around the world, where it's pretty much a stretch of town where men can go and browse women. Like imagine Walmart, but instead of shopping for bicycles and guns, it's women. You know, it's something that was very prominent back in those times and still sort of is nowadays. I mean, then again, prostitution, oldest profession in the world. Probably, aside from maybe like farmer. Mao Mao is just an example of this is how you write a character like this. Animator, voice actor, goddamn. It's a perfect character, just in the sense of how she's portrayed. By no means perfect, but then again, no one is. But it's those imperfections that make me like her more. A really cool part I did like is the fact that she could have ended up as a concubine, but she intentionally made herself look uglier. You know, she gave herself like freckles and whatnot. Because yes, God forbid a woman have freckles. Oh, they're so ugly. But then again, the beauty standards were a lot higher back then. It's just the interactions between the different characters, especially with like Gaoshun and Jinshi and just his whole story there. And then Mao Mao's relationship with the different concubines, where it's like some of them hate her at first, and then they grow to love her. Yeah, even though Mao Mao was against her will taken from her previous life, the life she has now is, I would say, better. I mean, she has more freedom, I would say. Especially the last couple episodes where it really delves into like her backstory. I mean, not so much her backstory, because you know her story. You know, the backstory of who her parents are and how, surprisingly, considering she's an anime protagonist, they're still alive. Now, this may seem like an insult in terms of nowadays, but I consider it a praise. This seems like the type of story that would be like a Disney film or something, like an animated thing. Or I guess more appropriately, I should say, it feels like a Hayao Miyazaki film, but made into a show. I mean, it gave me a lot of Spirited Away vibes, you know, especially with like, you know, the beauty houses and everything. But I mean, that one was more a bathhouse. This is obviously a concubine house. It makes me wonder, it's just like, how much of this was maybe based off of not obviously real events. A second season is set to premiere in 2025? Motherfucker. I mean, granted, the first season did end with like a thing being like, yes, the second season anime is already in production, which more shows need to do that, okay? Because as soon as it ends, it's always just like, all right, when's it gonna be the next thing? And then like maybe a couple weeks later, there'll be a trailer. It's like, oh, okay, there you go. But is there not gonna be, or is there gonna be? At least Shonen does that really well. I will say it's probably hard to recommend this one. It is more of a slower paced thing. You know, it's a drama. It's funny, the thing here has the genres as drama, mystery, romance, which, yeah, I would say drama, mystery, comedy. Again, there is romance definitely between Mao Mao and Jinshi, which is growing, but it's not really there yet, I would say. It's definitely more one-sided, with Jinshi probably being more in love, let's say, with Mao Mao than vice versa. But I am looking forward to seeing their relationship grow further as we go into future stuff. Is the manga actually done? No, it's still going. Sheesh. Looks like the latest chapter came out on the 19th of this month. Maybe I won't read the manga then, because it's not done yet. But yes, overall, what would I give this first season of the Apothecary Diaries? I would give it an easy 9 out of 10. The animation was always, it was well placed, I'll say that. It wasn't something I was thinking about, but when good animation would happen, I'd be like, ooh, that was nice. Art though, phenomenal. I loved the art direction. What was the studio? Toho. Oh, of course. Kevin Pankin did the music? I wouldn't have guessed. It's a combination of three composers, it looks like. Satoru Kosaki, Kevin Pankin, and Elisa Okehazama. Yeah, Toho's done so much. I can't even begin to list the amount of stuff that they've done, because the stuff they've done goes all the way back to like 1972. But either way, I don't feel like I talked that much about this show. It's one of those ones where, I mean, it's easy to describe. I mean, it's 24 episodes, but it's an easy 24 episodes, I say. Granted, how I've been watching it over the course of these couple weeks is right before I go to bed, I just like put on a couple episodes. It's not really one I can kind of binge like in one go. That's why it took me a while. So yeah, if I do recommend watching it, I would say watch it in bursts of episodes at a time. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it all in one sitting, but it is a really fun story. The characters are really good, and you know, voice acting, music, art, very nice, and I can't wait to see more of it. But either way, this was my review for the first season of Apothecary Diaries. Join me for many other videos of the sort, be they future anime reviews, reactions, gameplay, and everything else that'll be coming out soon. Until next time, I'm Lancer. Thanks for watching.